Okay, there's something really going on with my thinking. Okay, there really is. Now, I'm going to tell you that all of those people who were up there, they all had rides, right? Because they were coming out with baskets full of food. Baskets. Okay? And they can take as much as they want of whatever they want, even though some of the items were saying limit to and such, right? You know, you could tell that they weren't following the rules. But let me hold on. So now I'm going to the senior center because that shopping was like being at, you know, the Black Sale Friday, right? People were picking over you, under you, around you, asking you to move out the way, you know. And yeah, very it was very stressful and chaotic, you know. And you know, I'm an introvert, and so I'm sensitive, right? So I'm sitting up here trying to see, what is this? What is that? You know, stuff like that, right? Because I'm not familiar with some of the stuff that they have. Like this, I wasn't familiar with this. Let's open it up and see. What it reminds me of was like soybeans is what it kind of reminds me of. See, this is what it looks like, right? It kind of reminds me of soybeans. But it's supposed to have Buffalo Ranch flavoring on it. So, yeah, I got me a few of those. Got me a few of those 365, you know, protein bars, right? I haven't had fruit and vegetables, you know, in a minute, right? Because, you know, I've been mostly eating like meat and beans is what my diet, and eggs. Meat, beans, and eggs. And a little bit of Greek yogurt here and there, and some pasta, you know, protein, which is protein pasta. It's made of lentil beans. So it just seems like when I say beans, I should be including the pasta in there also. But, you know, yeah, whatever. So this was the thing, right? I'm trying to figure out, you know, am I supposed to be going on some weird ass dairy diet of like eggs, cottage cheese, and you know, to get my protein? Right? Because you've seen how I have like 12 cartons, maybe 14 cartons, but I think it's 12 cartons of cottage cheese. You know, and I'm still trying to think, you know, besides lasagna, right? Besides lasagna, what can I do with a whole bunch of cottage cheese? So I'm going to really have to, you know, find some recipes as to what I could do with this cottage cheese. Okay. But here, here's one of the things that, I was thinking about. I'm like, okay, so I'm frustrated because I'm taking things, I don't know what they are, I don't know if I'll actually use them, but I'm taking them because that's all they have left, and I won't be able to come back for another couple of weeks. Right? So it's like, well, you take what you don't know and what you think you might eat, because by the time, you get around to the other side, where the stuff are that you do want, they may run out, which of course they ran out. They had meat and everything there, but I've never went there when the meat was available. Right? So, yeah. It was slim pickings just to try to get, the lemons and the yams and what else did I get? And the bananas. I had went back there to get me some bananas, and they were snatching up the bananas. Well, the ones that were fairly ripe now, they wasn't really touching the dark green ones. They had a lot of dark green bananas there. I don't know how I guess I was told the way that you would wait for the bananas to ripen is you put them in a brown paper bag, and then they'll ripen that way. Right? If you let them ripen any other kind of way, I guess they get spoiled. They get spoiled instead of ripened. So anyway, I'm feeling a little frustrated, which is why I'm going to the senior center, because that stuff that I got. Now I'll probably use the garbanzo beans, right? I'll use those for sure, because I'll just add some of those along with the other beans that I cook on a regular basis. Okay, but so I'm not really upset about that. The spaghetti sauce, I could probably, I got 4 cans of spaghetti sauce. I don't know that particular brand of spaghetti sauce in the can, right? And then I figured the applesauce, even though it's unsweetened, it could be used instead of oil in like pastries. And I'm like, I know I'm not supposed to be like really doing these pastries. Right? But I brought some home. I did. I brought some home. Brought some of the oatmeal raisin cookies. I brought some of that. And I also brought the little pumpkin delights, right? I don't know what they are, what they, if I'll even like them. Never had them before, but they look interesting. And then, and like I said, as I was leaving, they put out this bag, right? And I'm looking at the bag like, what's in the bag? And they're like, you gonna take the bag? If you ain't gonna take the bag, I'll take the bag. And I was like, well, I'll take the bag. Right? So I took the bag, and that's the bag that had all of the little breakfast sandwiches, the ham and cheese sandwiches, a couple of, croissant sandwiches, some pastries, and I'm like, okay, this is good, because you need something like this laying around, when you don't want to cook, and and you're gonna eat. So I froze some of the breakfast sandwiches. Now, if I would microwave my food, that would be okay. For those who microwave their food, they just stick it in the microwave, defrost and cook at the same time for, 30 seconds, boom, they got something to eat. But I don't microwave. So, yeah. Oh, I know what those pastries are. They're called bear claws. Yeah, that's what those were. Bear claws. So there was like about 5 or 7 bear claws. A couple of pastries. 1 or 2 pound cakes. Just single serving. But my mind is still saying, why did you take those things when you don't really eat that stuff? And it's like, like when I asked the dude, what are you going to do with all that cottage cheese? And he was like, I don't know, we take it, And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll take it and figure it out. Right? You figure it out. If it comes down to it and you need the food, are you going to eat the food that you have, even though you don't normally eat that food? That's what it came down to. It came down to me thinking about, would you eat this food if you had nothing else to eat? Would you eat it? And it was like, yes, I would eat it. So I'm over here at the senior center now. Let me see if it's even open. Yeah, it's open. I'm going to go in here for 10 minutes. Try to release some of this stress and anxiety. Because that's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling a lot of stress and anxiety because I'm so disappointed. Like I said, I'm disappointed about the pity. Right? Now I'm disappointed about how they running things, at this pantry. So maybe the next time I'll try to see about doing it online or pick up, because some people, they'll just pick up their box and they'll just go on about their business. So you can't order online. And maybe that's the whole thing, is maybe they try to discourage you from coming in, and they want you to order online and pick up, or, yeah, could be. Hold on. Okay. Just finished lifting weights and doing a 6-minute aerobics here at the senior center. I feel good about that. I'm still having a hard time breathing. I did not get a reply back from my doctor. I don't know if they're looking for cheaper medicines, and that might be why it's taking so long, because I told them that the medicines that they sent me were so expensive. And they were. So maybe I'll call them later when I get home. Whew. But I am glad that I at least went to go work out. Because normally, what I like to do is work out with my lightweight exercises. And lately, I've been walking a mile on the treadmill and calling it a day, right? Basically, like some exercise is better than no exercise. And that's true. But, somebody got a Versa. But, you know, you have to make yourself feel good, right? And that's what the whole workout is supposed to make you feel. It's supposed to make you feel good. And as a consequence of working out, you also feel stronger. And anytime you feel strong, there's a sense of empowerment with strength. That's just the way it is. Okay? So, to say that right now I feel strong and I feel empowered, yes. You know, do I feel empowered enough to do repairs that need to be done? I can't say that I do. I cannot. There's something that, you know, is very reluctant on doing these repairs. Now, I could do another spot, like a spot repair, like I did do initially, was a spot repair, right? Or I could take out the whole floor trim on that side of the wall, and then just put down some tile. I had the motor, I had the tile. That's what I would prefer to do. Now, working with motor can be very messy. Yes. Right? I wanted to be able to just do a small little patchwork, right? Which is what I thought I did initially, right? The first time she pulled out my little makeshift repair, pulled it out, put it back up. Then she pulled it out for real. And I'm like, okay. You know, I could say this is what I'm battling with. I'm battling with a pit that is pushing me to doing things that I don't want to do. Okay? And it's like, I have to ask myself over and over, you know, again, you know, do I love this pity enough? Do I love this pity that much? Because I'm telling you, I almost put her on Facebook, okay? I almost put her up for adoption on Facebook. And I probably would have tried to sell her first. Like, yeah, let me try to sell her. She got shots. I've already fed her. I've taken care of her. I've been picking up her shit for months, every day. Right? That's how I was feeling. It's not a good feeling. It's not. But I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes you can't just wish away bad feelings. Sometimes you have to dive deep into those feelings. Right? You gotta dive deep into those feelings. And then either float your way back up out of those feelings, swim your ass out of those feelings. Right? Because if you don't, what's the alternative? Right? The alternative is me packing up her ass and throwing her in the back and taking her over there to Operation Kindness and dumping her on their doorstep. Like, tie her up to the doorknob in the middle of the night. That way when they come show up in the morning, they got him a pity. They got him a pity. Make me glad that I ain't microchipped her ass. Whew. Let me stop talking like this, because I'm telling you, even sometimes talking like this, it feels like this is the inevitable truth. This is the way it's going to be. And that's not really what I want. But what I want is not happening. What I don't want is to be sitting up here cleaning up dog shit. Now, while I was at Home Depot, they had some pet doors for a large dog for $88. Now, would it be cruel for me to have her become an outside dog? Would it be cruel? I mean, just because Snoopy is an indoor dog does not mean that Gracie has to be an indoor dog. Okay? But I never had that problem with Snoopy. You know, the few times that Snoopy has shitted and pissed in the house, sometimes it was because, you know, I didn't have time to come back and let her out. Other times it was because it was rainy or really cold outside. You know, the things that she did, I could relate to. The things that this Pitty's doing, I can't relate to it. I mean, I'm almost to the point where I'm like, no, don't even get on me. No, I don't want you touching me, and I'm not going to touch you. That's how I'm almost to that point with this pit. And Snoopy knows it. Snoopy walks away and she looks around like, this ain't shit. And while I was sitting up there talking to her, she had the audacity not to look at me and listen to me, and she turned her back on me. I'm like, oh, is this how you gonna do it? Is this how you want it to play out? So I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. So then I can make her an outdoor dog during the warm days, and then make her a cage dog at night, and during the days that she has to come inside. I mean, there's all kinds of ways, you know, that I can figure out, you know, on how to handle her, right? But one thing I'm not going to handle her doing is, if I put her in that cage and she starts crying and barking all day, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. Right? She's already, like I said, she's scratching at doors, she's scratching at outlets, she's scratching at, you know, things that she thinks she's so clever. She thinks she's so clever. She's like, oh, I can get into, you know, Massa's side of the house if I dig a hole in the wall. Like, that little stupid ass dog don't realize if she ever dig a way into the Massa side of the house, that's the last thing she wants me to find out. be looking for sticks and whips and shit to beat her ass. And then when I calm down, I'll be like, oops, I think I might kill you and it's time for you to go. Oops. I didn't mean to beat your ass with anything I seen handy that I felt like would hurt you. See, I don't want to get to that point. But I feel like I got a power struggle going on with a fucking pity. And I know not all pities are like that. And let's be real. Okay. Now that I'm stopped, I got it out a little bit. I got my anger out a little bit, right? So let's just say this is her during her rebellious teenage years, right? She's being rebellious and she's a teenager now, right? Well, this is time that if she pushes so hard, right? She pushes the right buttons. That these are the buttons that I can traumatize her accidentally, because she just pushed the right buttons, right? Because I'm already getting sick and tired of picking up the poop. I'm already getting sick and tired of her chewing up my shit, right? I'm already getting sick and tired of her wrecking my yard. And now she's damaging the house. Right? And I know y'all can relate when you have a dog that might tear up the windowsill, scratch up the doors, because she's been scratching on the doors. I just haven't looked yet to see how far she done went with scratching on the door. I don't have to look because I heard her scratching. Right? And I know you all know this. And when it gets to this point, it's like, you know, you keep cutting off their freedom. You just keep cutting their freedom down. It's like, okay, well, I can't let you in the whole house, because when I let her in the whole house, you know, she was getting into the paint cans, the paint brushes, the stack of boxes and bins and stuff that I had. She was jumping on the couch. She was biting up the couch and biting up the chairs. And I'm like, no, right? Then when I kept an eye on her, and I'm like, okay, you can stay here in the room with me, right? She starts biting up, my plastic containers. She starts chewing on my shoes. And I'm like, no. And I'm really trying my best. Not to let it bother me. Right? But it seems like by me not letting it bother me, she starts to think like, oh, that's okay. And I'm like, no, it's not okay. Because let's just say I have a problem. Okay? My problem is that I don't know how to be bothered. I don't know how to temper when I'm bothered, right? Because by the time I admit that I'm bothered, I felt like I done gave 1,000 chances. So when I start getting into the bothered zone, then it's like, oh no, you've already had 1,000 chances. it's like, you know, it's countdown. Oh my gosh, this Chevy station is gone. Mobile station is gone too. It's called Happy Fuels. It used to be a mobile station. Look at this shit. Look at the sign. Happy Fuels. Oh my God. What the hell? Who's buying up all of these gas stations? I think there was maybe, 3 gas stations that you could really trust the gasoline that you were getting. Mobil, Chevy, and Shell. Those were the only 3 gas stations that I felt like you could trust the gasoline that you were getting, you know, wasn't going to fuck your car up. Or was going to be calibrated, you know, where they wasn't jipping you out your money. Where, you know, and the gasoline just wasn't some dirty ass gasoline. So I don't know what to tell y'all, you know, except it looks like things is getting really bad. I mean, the quality, there won't be quality, right? There won't be quality. There will be just wing it, right? But at the same time, if you think about what they had did, right? The things that they had did, you know, to try to enforce quality, and then, you know, the corruption behind them was like, yeah, but we know when you come in, we know when you left, you know, we'll still keep doing what we've been doing, right? Which is like crazy work. It's just crazy work. And I don't know how many times this bank has changed its name. This bank has changed its name about 10 times. Okay, so I think I can go home now. That soup that I had got, I think it's almost defrosted. I'll try to eat that. This is not my favorite, but you know, it will kill your appetite, because it's dry. It's dry. Because I had seen that damage this morning, I was so upset. I knew I had to get out of that house. I knew it. I had to get out of the house. Right? I scolded her. Then I fed the doggies. And then I just got dressed and got out the house. That's what I did. Because I already know. was out of control. It was. And when my temperature is out of control, somebody's got to go. And that's why I got out the house and decided to go on up here to Home Depot. We're going to try to find some things to do some repairs. And then, you know, it looks like it's going to cost too much for me to try to put that bathroom door back on, right? Because I was looking at the barn door fixtures, $150, right? Then, you know, $80 for the closet door slides. So I'm gonna have to figure out something. I just stuck the door up there, but I'm afraid that at some point that dog is gonna try to get in the bathroom anyway, and she's gonna knock the door down. So there's got to be some kind of way I can put that door back up and close it so that, you know, she just doesn't have access to go into the bathroom anymore. And as far as that outlet, I found an outlet that I can screw on there and just hope that she doesn't electrocute herself. So this is one of the things that I had heard on the one of the SA channels that I listen to, right? He's supposed to be a disability attorney. Hold on. What he was saying was that people are getting caught using their SNAP as for money, right? And that it's so easy for the government to even find out through AI that, you know, you may have agreed with somebody through text or through email, maybe even through WhatsApp. I don't know. He didn't say WhatsApp, but that's where my mind went to. Could you use WhatsApp? Because I don't think WhatsApp is recorded. Unless, you know, they're recording. So anyway, that's what he said. And he said that some people, the fraud is huge, right? And he was talking about, you know, those Somalian immigrants and some other kind of immigrants, Arab immigrants. I mean, it's just unbelievable, right? And I don't see how they don't find these people when, you know, all of these times, you know, you seeing these people, you know, and I'm telling you, even here at this pantry, all they had to do is give a name, an address, and I don't know if it has anything to do with servicing area or anything like that. And that's it. They just need a name and an address, and I guess that justifies that they're indeed a charity and deserves to get whatever these charities are getting by the state, to and local businesses, to give out food. Now I appreciate the food that I got. Like I said, I hadn't really ate any fruits in a long time. I know I had bought some limes and stuff about a month ago. So, and I did buy some potatoes, but I didn't buy sweet potatoes. So it was nice to get some sweet potatoes for free. Um, so I'll be able to make pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie. Yeah. Um, so I did my running around early today. It's 50 degrees right now. Blue skies. It's nice out. But I don't have that much more on my battery. So I'm going to let it charge up. Who knows? I might get back out later. Because that full moon, it just be having me come outside. It says, Cherie, it's a full moon. Come out and play, yay.